Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about cold frames. Today I want to provide an update with where they are today. There have been some interesting developments, interesting changes that I want to document and share some notes on. So feel free to hang around and we will get into all that right here, right now. Alright, so here we have this first cold frame. If you've seen any of the other videos I've done on cold frames, this is usually the one I start off with. This cold frame, of course, had the kale and parsley plants in here. Right now we're looking at some dried up red Russian kale stalks. They did not survive the winter, and most of the parsley plants in here have died back. There are a few right near the edge of the wall, which are still green. And then there's some garlic mustard plants way in the back corner there. I've been nibbling on those. But one interesting thing I've noticed here is that when I checked the cold frame recently, I had noticed it had gotten really dry. And I'm wondering if that had to do with some of the weather. And even though plants don't need a whole lot of water in the wintertime to keep them alive and photosynthesizing, because a lot of that stuff is operating at a much lower level. Apparently they still need some water, and these cold frames weren't able to retain the necessary amount of water. So, and maybe with some of the warmer days we've had over the winter time, even though they've been inconsistent, it's probably gotten warm enough to kind of dry out and bake the soil, and that's what I'm wondering kind of happened. But we do have some parsley plants here left. Of course, I do have a bunch of parsley seeds that I collected earlier in last season, so though I will be out planting those probably shortly in the next month or two or so. In terms of the red Russian kale, that was pretty much a 100% wipeout. Alright, let's go check out the next one. In this second cold frame we have some bed straw plants. They are doing well, even though this cold frame got really dried out as well. The turnips in the back corner all kind of dried out and died. We have this rosemary plant here. It may actually come back. I don't think it's completely gone, but it did suffer some damage, but it may be able to come back. I did have some goji berry seedlings in here as well, and we'll see if those have stayed alive or not. I'm not holding my breath on that, but we'll see. But yeah, and then those rutabagas, you know, I was thinking that they might be able to come back a third year. I was just a little overly optimistic, I guess, but here's one of them. You can kind of see it's all, you know, dried out. You could probably use this like a sponge or something. But yeah, I was able to get a bunch of seeds off of these rutabaga plants last season, so I'm not concerned about that or anything like that. It's not like I was counting on these to survive another year. I know that they're traditionally biennial plants. But anyway, that's how things look here. I'm thinking in this cold frame I may put some cabbage in here, and then that can get a head start. And hopefully we can get some pretty good sized plants in here. Okay, on to the third one. Okay, so here we have the third cold frame. This of course had a bunch of kale in here. And you can see actually some of the kale has survived. Well, there's this type of kale, I'm not totally sure what that is. But then we have this curly kale, and the curly kale really seems to be doing well. Another curly kale here, and there's one back there, a couple of them. And even though this cold frame dried out a lot as well, these kale plants seem to be doing very well. But you can see all of the red Russian kale in here has died back as well. Now, it's not that this cold frame had any extra moisture in here or anything like that, because you can see of all the dried and died up kale plants here, those are all red Russian kale. So this curly kale just seems to be a lot more resilient of a variety and doing very well. So I'll definitely try to propagate and save more of these seeds in the future so that I can grow these in the cold frames, and then be assured when, even though it may get cold and dry, these will have a much better chance to survive. I'm also thinking of, in one of these cold frames, I may experiment with growing some carrots just to kind of help control the climate in there during the growing season, as long as I keep them watered and everything like that. But yeah, thanks so much for checking out this video. I hope you got something from it, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.